The husband balanced two families for decades. Neither knew the other existed, until his daughter from the first family spots her dead father alive outside the second family's house. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let's start. 8 months. That's how long Maria had been visiting a grave that apparently didn't need visiting. She wasn't even supposed to be at that gas station. Wrong exit, low tank, 200 miles from home. She was pumping gas when she saw him, walking out of the convenience store with a coffee in his hand, laughing at something on his phone. Same laugh, same walk, same gray jacket he wore to her college graduation. Her father had been dead for 8 months. She didn't call his name. She didn't move. She just watched him get into a silver Camry, not the truck he used to drive, a Camry, and pull out of the lot like he had somewhere to be. Maria got back in her car before she even decided to. She followed at a distance, hands shaking on the wheel, telling herself it was a mistake, a stranger, grief playing tricks. Then he pulled into a driveway of a house she'd never seen in her life, and the front door opened before he even reached it. A woman in her 40s stepped out, smiling. "You're early," she said, pulling him into a hug. "Traffic wasn't bad for once," he said. Her father's voice. Exactly her father's voice. Then a teenage boy came jogging out from the backyard, grinning. "Dad, you said you'd be here for dinner." Maria's phone was in her hand before she even felt herself pick it up. Her fingers found the camera icon on their own. Her mother's phone buzzed at that exact moment. A text from Maria. "Hey Mom, just checking in, love you." Karen texted back a heart emoji. No idea that 6 hours away, her daughter was standing outside a stranger's house, recording her husband's second family through a car window, her thumb steady on the red button. The teenage boy tackled David, her father, into a hug on the front lawn. "My whole world," David said, laughing, ruffling the boy's hair. "Both of you. My whole world." Maria had heard those exact words 100 times growing up. At her graduation, at her mother's birthday, last Christmas, the one before the funeral. My whole world. She kept recording. Maria didn't drive home that night. She parked 3 streets over and sat in the dark, replaying the video until she'd memorized every frame. By morning, she had a name. Denise Cole, tagged in the boy's Instagram posts. The boy was Tyler, 16. Football team. Best dad ever caption under a photo with David from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. 4 months after the funeral. She stayed in town 3 more days, telling her mother she'd taken a spontaneous trip with a friend. She watched the house, learned the routine. David left every morning at 7:40, came back Tuesdays and Fridays, gone the rest of the week for work. Consulting, Denise had mentioned to a neighbor while getting the mail. Something in logistics. He traveled a lot. Maria almost confronted him on the 3rd day. She was close enough. He was loading grocery bags into the Camry, alone, and she'd started walking toward him before her legs stopped her. "If I do this now," he explains it away. "If I do this now, it's just me against him." She turned around and went back to her car instead. That night she found the folder. Not on his laptop. She didn't have access to that. But in her mother's file cabinet back home, the week she visited to help with taxes. Life insurance payout. $340,000. Her mother's new car, her mother's mortgage relief, all of it sitting on the assumption that David Ellison had died in a single car accident on a business trip. An accident that, according to the folder, had no body recovered. Closed casket. At the family's request. Maria sat on her mother's bedroom floor for a long time. She thought about Denise, too. The way she'd looked at David like he was the only good thing that had happened to her in years. Denise didn't know she was funding a lie either. 2 women, 2 households, 1 man cashing in on both. That's when she saw the calendar hanging in her mother's kitchen, flipped to November, circled in red pen. Thanksgiving. David's favorite. Call at 2 p.m. Always. A tradition. Every year, without fail, David called at exactly 2 p.m. on Thanksgiving to talk to the whole family before dinner. Maria opened her phone and scrolled to Denise's Instagram again. A post from last Thanksgiving. Tyler and Denise on a video call, mid-laugh. Caption, "Our 2 p.m. tradition. Dad never misses it. Same day, same hour, same words." Maria sat back against the cabinet, and for the first time since the gas station, she smiled. Maria didn't confront anyone. She planned. She found Denise's number through Tyler's tagged photos, a mom's B-Day post with a comment thread, a number visible in a screenshot Denise had forgotten to crop. Maria didn't call it. She saved it. She spent the next 2 weeks doing nothing that looked like anything. She showed up to her mother's house for dinner. She laughed at the right places. She let Karen show her David's photo on the mantle and say, the way she always did now, "He would have loved this." Inside, Maria was building a timeline. She confirmed it through the family group chat, the one with her mom, her aunt, her grandmother, that the 2 p.m. Thanksgiving call was locked in, same as every year, a video call where David checked in from the road since he was always traveling for work that week. Then she found Denise's family group chat, name through Tyler's public friend tags, guessed her way into a mutual family Facebook group under a fake profile, and confirmed it. Denise's family had their own 2 p.m. call. Same day, same hour. David had built one lie efficient enough to run on a single script, recycled across 2 households. Maria opened her notes app and wrote, plainly, without emotion. He calls Mom's family at 2 o'clock. He calls Denise's family at 2 o'clock. Same day. Same performance. He's never had to remember 2 different men, just one man, twice. They need to see it at the exact same second, not one after the other. Together. No time for him to spin it. She pulled the video from the gas station driveway, the hug, the boy, the words "my whole world," and trimmed it down to 11 seconds. Just enough. His face, his voice, his arms around a woman and a boy who weren't supposed to exist. She didn't add commentary. She didn't need to. The 11 seconds did all the talking. 2 nights before Thanksgiving, Maria created a second messaging account. She found a reason to be added to Denise's family group chat. A fake profile claiming to be Tyler's classmate's mom. Harmless. Already vetted by 2 mutual friends she'd built trust with over a week of small talk. She was in. Now she had access to both. Her mother's family chat. Denise's family chat. Same app. 2 windows. 1 video. Ready. The night before Thanksgiving, she sat at her kitchen table and stared at the 2 chat threads open side by side on her phone. At the top of one, "Can't wait to hear from Dad tomorrow." At the top of the other, 2 p.m. sharp. "Don't let him forget, LOL." Maria set 2 alarms for 1 p.m. Then she turned off her phone and went to bed. And for the first time in 8 months, she slept without dreaming about a funeral that never should have happened. Thanksgiving morning moved too slow and too fast at once. Maria showed up to her mother's house at noon, helped set the table, said nothing while Karen talked about how David used to carve the turkey, how she still couldn't bring herself to use his chair. At 1:47 p.m., Maria checked her phone under the table. Both chats were quiet, waiting. At 1:58 p.m., right on schedule, David called Karen's phone. Video call, his face filling the screen. Sitting in what looked like a hotel room, the same background he always used, a nondescript wall, a lamp, nothing that could be traced. "There's my girls," he said, grinning. Karen's whole face lit up like the 8 months hadn't happened. "Hi, Dad," Maria said, calm, steady. "Happy Thanksgiving." "You have no idea how much I miss this," David said. "You two are my whole world." Maria's stomach turned at the words, but she didn't flinch. At exactly 2 p.m., she opened both group chats and hit send at the same moment. The 11-second clip, David's arms around Denise and Tyler, his voice saying the same 4 words into a different family's front yard. Then she set her phone face down on the table and looked at her mother. 3 seconds later, Karen's phone buzzed with a notification. She glanced down out of habit, still smiling, still mid-sentence to David on the call. Maria watched her mother's face change in real time. "What?" Karen's thumb hovered over the video. She hit play. On the call, David kept talking, oblivious. "So what's on the menu this year? Is Aunt Ro bringing her—" "David!" Karen's voice cracked. She turned the phone toward the screen so he could see what she was looking at. "David, who is this?" 200 miles away, in a house Maria had never set foot in, Denise's phone buzzed at the same second with the same video, sent by a woman she thought was a classmate's mom. David's face on Karen's screen went white. His mouth opened. No sound came out. Then, faintly, through his phone's speaker, bleeding in from wherever he actually was, Maria heard it. A second voice, distant but unmistakable, calling his name. Denise's voice, on another call, in another room, also seeing his face freeze. "David!" Karen's voice was ice now. "Who's calling you right now?" The call didn't disconnect. For 3 full seconds, both women were listening, and David said nothing at all. Then, on opposite sides of town, 2 front doors opened at the exact same moment. Karen didn't finish the call. She stood up from the table, phone still in her hand. Video paused on David's face. Frozen mid-laugh, arm around a boy she'd never met, and walked straight out her own front door like her body knew before her mind caught up. She stood on the porch in the cold, staring at nothing, phone hanging at her side. 6 hours away, Denise did the same thing. Walked out of her house mid-sentence, mid-argument, mid-something, and just stood on her own front steps. Phone in hand, the same 11 seconds paused on the same screen. 2 women, 2 doorsteps, 2 versions of a man who had run out of ways to be in both places at once. Maria stayed in the kitchen, watching her mother's back through the window. She didn't follow her outside. This wasn't a moment to be part of. It was one to witness from a distance, the way she'd been witnessing everything for weeks. Her phone buzzed. A text from the fake account, from someone in Denise's chat. "Who sent this? Is this real? Denise just walked outside and won't talk to anyone." Maria didn't answer. Karen finally turned around and came back inside. She didn't cry. Not yet. She just sat down across from Maria and set her phone on the table, screen still lit, David's face still frozen there between them. "You knew," Karen said. Not a question. "I found him 3 weeks ago," Maria said. "Gas station, 200 miles from here. He has a whole life, Mom. A wife, a son. He's called us at 2 p.m. every Thanksgiving because he calls them at 2 p.m. too. Same script, same words. He just never had to write a new one. Karen didn't ask why Maria hadn't told her the moment she found out. She didn't have to. She was staring at the frozen video, at the boy's arms around her husband, at the words "my whole world" still visible in the paused caption Maria had left in for exactly this reason. "He's not dead," Karen said quietly. "No. He let us bury him." "Yes." Karen picked up the phone, looked at it a moment longer, then set it back down, face up, and didn't touch it again. Outside, 200 miles away, Denise was still standing on her porch. A neighbor had come out to check on her. Tyler had come to the door, confused, asking what was wrong, and Denise hadn't been able to answer him yet. Maria sat in her mother's kitchen, turkey going cold on the counter, and felt none of the relief she'd expected. Just stillness. The kind that comes after something ends, not the kind that comes after something is won. She'd wanted them to know at the same second. She'd gotten exactly that. She hadn't planned for what came after, for the sound of her mother's voice going quiet, for the picture of two women on two porches she'd never see but would always imagine, for the fact that exposing one lie didn't undo 8 months of grief that had been real even if the reason for it wasn't. David never called back. The number was disconnected by that night. Maria never found out which house he went back to, if either. She didn't look for him again. She'd done what she came to do. She just hadn't expected it to feel like this.